Okay, hello and welcome to the Competitive University Transfer Panel. This is our panel that is co-hosted with Transfer Services. The woman running away from me is the Executive Dean for Transfer Services who helped put this together, Dr. Renee Esparza. We wanted to bring this to you. This is actually the third year that we've done this because students find it's so helpful to hear about the transfer journeys of their fellow Riverbats from these pretty prestigious institutions and programs. This is our third year of doing it. And actually, I want to embarrass someone because someone on this stage is the inspiration actually for this whole thing. Because 3 years ago, we had a student who went to Yale. And so she wanted to get connected with other people to give them tips about applying and transferring. And I got an email from a person saying, it would be really great if we could actually talk to these people instead of emailing them. And I thought, you're right. And we can do that. And that person is Shay on the end. And so Shay was the inspiration really for this. And this is our third year of doing it. So I feel like there's something really full circle about her now being on the stage. So welcome to this. As I said, our third time. For those of you just coming in, I hope that you all were able to hit the nacho bar. We are going to talk with each person. I wanted to let you know that we do have a sixth participant. His name is Noah Charlin. He is at Georgetown University, and he has a kind of an unavoidable conflict, so he's coming in a little bit later tonight. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So we'll actually start with our participants online, and then we'll go to UT. Could you tell us a bit about yourself, your major, your current university, and your career plan? So we'll start with you, Tristan.
Am I first to speak? Okay. My name is
No pressure.
Tristan. I am currently studying at Brown University as an undergraduate student. My degree or concentration, as they call it here, is mechanical engineering. And what was the other part there that I'm missing?
Your career plans.
Oh, career plans. Ooh, I don't know if I can answer that fully, but I'm really interested in entrepreneurship and engineering, so I'll most likely join those in some way, but it's still open.
Okay, thank you, Tristan. Tristan was my student. He was in my science fiction class like 2 years ago now. And so he is, we wanted to bring him back. He came for his first year. And so we wanted to bring him back to give you more of a sense of what it's like to be like, okay, now I'm definitely on the way to graduation, right? So not just a first year experience. So thanks for being back. Luis, tell us about yourself, your major, your current university, and your career plans.
So my name is Luis. I'm a Marine Corps veteran, and then I'm currently an undergraduate student at Yale University through the Eli Whitney School Program. My major is cognitive science with a focus in neuroscience. And then my hope post Yale is to contribute to research, particularly belief formation in the computational neuroscience space, seeing how or trying to update legacy approaches to mental health.
Hey, thank you so much for being here. UT folks, well, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm Walter Beck. I'm at the UT Macomb School of Business, majoring in accounting. I've already recently signed an internship offer for Ernst & Young to work in their tax department. For those of you who don't know, Ernst & Young is a Big Four accounting firm, does public auditing and consultation with a lot of the largest companies in the country.
Congrats. Paulina.
Hi, my name is Paulina Mendoza. I'm currently studying international relations and global studies with a focus on international security and Latin American studies. Hopefully my career after this is to pursue law and become an attorney. If not, I think potentially diplomacy or somewhere in the political sphere.
Is there a master's at the LBJ school in our future, maybe?
Potentially, I do like their dual master's program, so I'm interested.
And then lastly, the woman who, as I said, inspired this whole series, Shay.
Not because I needed to be here, though. Just get that straight. Congratulations, Walt. That's really cool. And McCombs, they think that's really super, super cool too. I'm at McCombs. I'm majoring in management. I'm also double majoring in sociology. I'm interested in income inequality. And so I don't know what on earth I'm going to do when I leave the school, but hopefully something to kind of help the economic gap that just continues to grow wildly. So that's where I'm at. Did I need to say anything else?
Not unless you want to. Okay, so first question here, what made you apply to these particular schools? So let's go with Yale over Yale Eli Whitney here, Luis. What made you apply to Yale?
So I also kind of have a full circle story involving Shay. I was leaving calculus one day, and I was telling her about my plans, and I told her I was only applying to UT, and that was it. And then she mentioned how she had talked to somebody from a previous transfer panel that uh, didn't get into UT but got into Yale, and
Claire, yes.
that's right. And she told me to expand my horizons, and I did. And then the rest is history. But yeah, she was really instrumental in helping me figure out to expand my net and also doing the classic self-selecting out. So it kind of allowed me to expand the net that I was casting.
Could you tell us a little bit about the Eli Whitney program, because it is a little bit different, so folks here might want to know about the specifics.
Yeah, so the Eli Whitney program is the non-traditional track at Yale. You're still an undergrad at Yale. However, I think to apply to the program, you have to be 5 years removed from graduating high school, and it's specifically for non-traditional students. Whether you're a veteran, whether you were an entrepreneur, whatever path you took in life, returning to academia, the Eli Whitney program is specifically catered for that. And then the great part about it is it comes with a cohort system, so you're automatically plugged in with other non-traditional students. So when you get here, you already have a built-in community. And then the orientation and just the culture of the program kind of is what gives it its namesake and makes it so collaborative.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So what you're basically saying is that Shay got you into Yale. Well, and Claire is actually coming back. And so for those of you who might be interested, the person that we were talking about who went to Yale is going to be graduating this semester, and she is on a mission to get more river bats to Yale. So we're going to have an event with her. I told her there would be cake and we'd bribe her, and so she's really excited about that. So we'll let y'all know. Tristan, why Brown?
So, as you probably know, Professor, because you helped me during the application process, I really was determined to go to one of these elite universities. I mean, it's a competitive university, and I personally I think a lot of it is just my personality. I really enjoy sort of that challenge. I enjoyed pushing myself. I was very curious to see, like what would happen. There was so much unknown, but that was part of the fun. And a large component of it was the potential financial aid benefit. A lot of competitive universities offer great financial aid for lower income students. So I was very motivated by that as well.
Just out of curiosity, Tristan, was Brown the best package that you got?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. But I was just but you got other offers, right?
I got a few. I didn't let all of my applications go to review or to finalize because I just knew that Brown was going to be the best. But yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, UT, why did you apply? Because it's down the street?
Actually, yeah, I would have to say proximity was very important in my decision. I'm someone who has been in Austin about 16 years now. And with that, I'm come rooted in UT and Longhorn pride.
But you're sporting your ACC Honors Program t-shirt, and for that, we're very grateful.
Yes, I'm very happy to acknowledge where I've come from and where I am and where I'm going. But it was a no-brainer for me because I knew I wanted to enter into business, and with the accounting school at UT being #1 ranked in the country, I knew that my opportunities beyond college and university would be the strongest at that institution. So when I was looking at, you know, the things that were close by, UT Business, Texas State, St. Edwards, Southwestern out in Georgetown, UT was just the standout. And so I applied just to UT.
What? I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
because
Okay.
with the price, with the tuition costs at St. Ed's and Southwestern being what they are, Texas State was my safety. And I knew that they accepted applications in August, so that if my application to UT was inevitably denied, that they'd be more than happy to take me at Texas State. So I kind of just put all my eggs in the UT basket.
Okay, don't do this. This is all about advice, but do not do this.
Yeah, that's definitely my agreement. Is you have to kind of go out there, look at what your options are, what's within your budget, and you know what you're willing to take on in order to kind of finish out your degree. Because there's a lot of even St. Ed's has great scholarship opportunities that kind of help with the costs there. If you're in Phi Theta Kappa, those scholarships can also help bring down the cost of tuition for you. So really encourage you to get out there, do the research, find the school that's the best fit for you in values and in budget.
Well, and back to not putting all your eggs in one basket. The first year that we did this, we had 2 students at Columbia. One student, she was the Jack Kent Cooke Scholarship winner that year, and she was at Rutgers University. And then we had Claire from Yale, and 3 of those students had applied to UT and had been rejected. And so that was really the kind of the takeaway, is that you really should expand your horizons outside of UT. Having said that, now we go back to UT. Paulina, why UT?
For me, UT was kind of always like a dream school, but when I was first at ACC, I was 18 and I didn't do that well here. I had like a 1.4 GPA. So when I came back almost, I think 11 years later, I met with a transfer advisor and they let me know about the academic fresh start program that's offered at any Texas public university. So what I thought was like so out of reach was kind of all of a sudden within reach. And that program made me like a competitive candidate. So I figured why not give it a shot, see what happens, and it happened.
Right?
I have to echo what she said about Fresh Start. I think that's what played a big part in my acceptance as well. Kind of a clean slate, if you will.
Shay,
What was the question again?
why UT?
Oh, well, I have 5 million children. Now I have 4, but I have so many kids and I live in Austin. And so I did apply to other schools and UT, and nobody wanted me, including Yale. And I do think it was because I did my Saturday Night Live impressions during the interview, but still, I wanted to go to UT McCombs because I've had a career in finance before I came to ACC. And going to McCombs would continue that business side of my career, but I was mostly interested in sociology. But I knew that I couldn't just like go to UT and do sociology and then go try and get a job afterwards and be like, hey, hire me, because I spent 4 years studying sociology and not anything to do with what my career was. So that was part of it.
I think you emailed me after the Yale interview and you were like, yeah, I screwed that up, but Luis is going to get in, so it's all good. Okay, let's actually start off with UT. Can you talk a little bit about what the transfer process was like for you all? You talked a little bit about Fresh Start, but the overall transfer process, like, did you all use, for example, the help of transfer services here, transfer specialists? What were some of the things that you did?
Start with this. You want to go reverse order?
I used everything that ACC has, and it was all incredibly helpful. I definitely came to like any panels they had for like other people that had transferred to universities to try to get advice from them. I also used transfer services as far as what is the guy's name that is, he's so great and he's in the transfer department, and
Dr. Esparza.
No.
No, I mean, I'm asking her if she's in here. Who's the guy that's so great? And
Is it Hiram?
Victor? Was it Victor?
Is it Hiram? Is that a name that? No. Anyway,
Some great guy.
some really great guy who helped me through the whole process.
Oh, Ram and Brandon and Victor, Renee is saying.
Okay. Anyway. Yeah, I used all the services that I could. And then as far as like how was the transfer process, it was incredibly stressful. It was really, really stressful because you just needed to find all the ways to like make sure that the university you're applying to was going to say yes. And that meant different things for every single university that you're applying to. So to keep track of all of that and then also be compelling in the process. And so it was really stressful. And I was really grateful to have the support of this school for sure.
Yeah, I would say kind of the same. Like the transfer services here really helped me so much. If I hadn't met with transfer services before I like submitted anything, I would have been so lost. I wouldn't have known about Academic Fresh Start. And then also when I met with transfer services, they kind of told me exactly kind of what UT looks for in their holistic process. It's kind of like a pie that's broken down, and all I had to do was make sure like I had something in every little bit of that pie. So I would highly, highly recommend meeting with someone in transfer services for sure.
Just to kind of tack on to what Paulina was saying about the holistic review at UT, I really, after seeing the stats of people who are kind of getting in and whatnot, they do take into consideration all elements of that, and it's really important to tick those boxes when you can. My transfer journey kind of started when I first kind of walked into ACC. I kind of knew that I wanted to go beyond just the associates to get my bachelor's degree. So I started planning from my first semester all the way until applications were due. I made sure to sit down with my advisor every semester, made sure that the curriculum I was taking would line up with what would get me to graduate with an ACC with the associates, but also to transfer seamlessly into UT's program. And that was really great because planning that out allowed me to actually skip some rather difficult courses. Like there's a popular course that everyone in undergraduate takes, UGS, Undergraduate Studies. Some people in this room have actually complained about it, but because I have the associates going in there, I was able to like bypass that. I found the most support throughout the ACC system. I utilized transfer services, but really just to kind of like pick their brain, made sure that I had like the right scope in mind, that I was, working through my plan from the application process, the documents that I need to get through, and the key points that I should hit on in my essay. But beyond that, I also had a support network around me. My wife, who was able to support me at home. She was looking over my shoulder, giving me some pointers about how to frame certain things. My professors who I'd visit in their office hours or right after class to talk and get their opinions. Actually, there's Professor Detmer who's over here. He was a big help to me when I was drafting my resume or my essay, which had to go through 8 different iterations before I finally settled on the one that I wanted. But around like the 3rd or 4th time, I realized I had the blueprint, and then it was just a matter of refining and refining and refining. So it's really just about taking that whole village to kind of center around what your goal is and to where you're trying to transfer, and then kind of crafting your essay, as Shay has pointed out, to the school that you're applying. Looking at what the values of that college are and how you can make that reflected into your essay and your resume.
Okay, thank you. Tristan, I know it's been a little while, but can you describe what the transfer process was like for you?
Yeah, I think it's always a balance, because there is no life where you're just applying to colleges. You're also likely, taking courses, maybe you're working, maybe I didn't really, I'm still fairly young. I don't have a family to support, but a lot of people have a lot of family obligations. So I think that is always a challenge, but I also think that's something that if you shape it right, you can use in your application as well. So don't think of it don't think of it as a disadvantage. It can elevate your application and show more of your character. But for me, I always knew that I wanted to go to a four-year university. That was initially why I even started attending ACC. And I was unsure through the whole process. I tried to remain confident, but it's there's no guarantees to any application. It very much feels like a void that you're sending these applications into, especially since they're digital. It's just a click of a button, and it's I don't know how many months you have to wait, but yeah, no, I think it's really just about giving it as much as you can and showing yourself. And I went through the application process before I started attending ACC, and I think gradually I became better at writing essays. I became better at expressing myself, and
No doubt due to your English professor's influence.
I mean, it definitely helped that I was taking English composition while I was writing my essays. I think, maybe it helped me to be a little more creative, maybe a little more unorthodox, maybe stand out a little more. I don't know, but yeah, no, definitely. But there are just so many little skills and so many subtleties that, fortunately or unfortunately, I had to learn through the process. And I did use the help of transfer services, and I had multiple people review my essays, but I think the last essay I submitted, I didn't have anyone review. So it was just a gradual process. And yeah, no, I'm glad I went through it, but it can be hard.
Hey, thank you. And that's for Brown, for those of you who just come in, we're talking about. So these three folks here are at UT. So we have UT McCombs, we have International Relations McCombs at the end. Tristan is at Brown. And Luis, what was the transfer process like at Yale?
So when I approached the transfer process, I try to treat it like, I was applying to a job. I tried to look at the school's values, see how I fit among them, see the ones that I really wanted to pursue, and then sort of begin crafting the personal statement that I was going to tell to that institution through the authentic lens of like who I was, and really focusing on my trajectory. I had a break in education due to the military, and before the military, I had really poor grades. And I think it's a story a lot of people can relate to, coming to community college as a non-traditional student, sort of having this like redemption arc. Um, and so I wanted to craft my personal statement in a way that reflected my trajectory. And it was more of a show, don't tell. Um, for the transfer process specifically, I leaned a lot on transfer services and then my academic advisors, so that I had a plan that I was following each semester with an end goal. And then also not shying away from some of the rigorous courses that the honors program provided. And I think that really helped me find my love for like math specifically.
Was that Conrad Miller?
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, with Professor Miller, I hated math growing up. I was terrible at it. And I started from the ground up when I went back to ACC. I started from college algebra, and then left at with honors calculus too, and completely revamped the way that I looked at math, how I interfaced with it, and also that helped me in my personal statement. And I think applying like this sort of growth and being a lifelong learner and what that meant. So it was like transfer services, but also the professors that were at ACC that provided just genuine passion for teaching that I felt was really infectious, and I think I benefited a lot from.
Hey, thank you. I think we have some other Conrad Miller fans, right? Yeah.
Sorry. I didn't realize we were talking about old Connie. I'm just kidding. Don't call him that.
Please do not.
I didn't realize we were talking about Professor Miller and our transfer process, but he wrote a recommendation letter for me. And Louise, Walt, and I don't know if you took, I wouldn't want to if you don't have to take calculus, but Miller is incredible. If any of y'all have to take math, if anybody's trying to get into the business school, if anybody has to take calculus, if anybody didn't know how to divide fractions before you started ACC like me, go to this man and he will like change your brain, and it's really cool. I highly recommend him. He's fabulous.
Okay, we are going to get into some questions from you all in a bit. I'm going to ask one more question and then we'll open it up to you all. But what is the one piece of advice you have for current ACC students and advisors who are assisting students plan their transfer? Anybody want to jump in on that? I'm just going to point at you if you don't jump in on it.
I'll
Okay,
answer.
I'll go ahead. Just
too
kind of
slow.
curious. So, how many people are looking to apply to UT?
Oh,
Yeah.
there's a few people in the room.
How many of y'all are looking to apply to schools that are out of state?
That's great.
Yeah. So just by raising your hand, you already have an idea of where it is that you want to go. So my best advice to you is just to keep planning. Like, look ahead, look at your timelines. What do you need for that application? And make sure that you have that all kind of muddling around in your head so that when deadlines come, you're not rushing it together. Planning really helped me, and keeping that end goal in mind was a big contributor to my success.
Hey, thank you. Tristan, you were going to say something?
Yes. One of my advice is to actually look at the program you're applying to, look at the school you're applying to, look at their website, just have fun, enjoy the process of, oh, they have this thing, or, oh, they have this group, or, things that are deeper in the website. Explore the professors. Some schools like Brown, they list their professors, and you can look at some of the research and works that are actively going on in the schools. Really get engaged with any public information that you can, and then take that excitement that you get from whatever program you're applying to and try to inject it as much as you can in your application. I think admissions really can identify students who have done their due diligence and are actually likely to contribute because they know what they're signing up for.
All right, thank you. Paulina?
I would say my biggest advice is to also take advantage of the honors program here. Once I joined the honors, I took advantage of every opportunity that was on the Tuesday newsletter. Dr. Thomas does an amazing job of telling you like all the opportunities with UT. I took advantage of the YCS fellowship this spring. I also took advantage of all the opportunities with LBJ, and I incorporated like everything that I learned with those programs to my personal statement. And I think that's what made my personal statement pretty strong. I incorporated like what I could find here at this university that I couldn't find anywhere else. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I hadn't experienced that at ACC. So highly, highly recommend joining honors. It's amazing.
Shay?
I'll just tell a little story. That I don't try to ask me questions about it, though. I'm going to tell a little story. Nobody gets to ask questions. I had an advisor at ACC that I was crying to about my college algebra class. And they were like, why don't you why are you trying to get into UT? Like, why don't you go do something else? And I was like, wait, what? And they were like, there are other really good options. And they're right. Like, there are so many good options. And so I decided, okay, what I'm going to do, if I'm going to be a big crybaby, is I'm going to double down and I'm going to join every single honors class that I can and work my ass off to get into UT because I want to get into UT. If I know that these other places are maybe in the bag, most likely, then I'm just going to reach for the stars with this one school. So that's my advice, is like, find your star school that you're interested in and like really focus on that, hone in on that, and see exactly what you want to do. I say this, but like, I still don't know why the hell UT let me in. I still kind of think they're going to call me at any moment and be like, that was a bad idea. You're back out. You shouldn't be here. But I just think that you need to really focus on the school that you're really madly in love with and interested in. But then also, like Tristan said, really focus on these other schools. If you really do want to get into them, like really want to get into them, then focus on what are they asking you for? What are they needing? Yeah. And then also, I will say this. I would start, you okay? Okay. I would start the essay kind of early because it's due March if you're trying to get in for fall. So I would start it like December and just like spend way too much time on it and like have everybody look at it that you feel comfortable with looking at it. But like be ready to go so that when your March classes are up, I don't know if y'all have midterms here. Are there midterms at ACC? I don't remember.
It depends on the class.
Okay. Well, if you're having it's like, that's a really busy time for when these applications are due. So I would just like be ready by like December to have everything wrapped up, ready to go. So when you send stuff in March, you're like ready to go. Like it's all ready to go and it doesn't feel really overwhelming. So anyways.
Thank you. Luis?
So I kind of want to echo what Tristan said. I think an admissions officer can tell when you're just shotgun blasting a ton of generic essays and applications to schools just trying to see what sticks. I think you get a lot of return from doing your due diligence, doing your research, going to the school, finding their mission, finding their values, looking at the department that you want to be a part of, maybe looking at a professor, some of the classes, and trying to include aspects of that in your essay. I think it really will show how much buy-in you have for that particular school, and it'll really help you tailor your essay and personal statement towards that institution. That being said, I think you should prioritize and have a bubble of like, okay, these are my top picks, these are secondary, and these are my safeties, and then work your way backwards because obviously, you need to prioritize your time and attention to your higher value schools and then work your way back. I also think Shay brought up a great point. Start early. That deadline will come fast. Um, I found it best to go through like periods where I would put a lot of time into my application. I'd step away for a couple days, maybe a week, and I'd come back and I'd reread it, and then I would have a new epiphany like, okay, that doesn't sound great, or maybe I should cut this, change that. A fresh set of eyes definitely helps. If you're waiting to the last minute, I think that's going to read across in your personal statement. So definitely do like have time ahead, set it apart. Um, and uh, yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, thank you. All right, so last year when I did,
Can I jump in? Yeah, we're talking about like values and how much those matter, and I just want to re-emphasize Tristan and Luis's point that even when I was beginning my transfer process, I got to sit down with someone who used to work in admissions with UC Berkeley, and they told me that they craft these values that they put on their website because they want to see that students are taking an interest. So she really stressed that it's important that you look at those and you make sure that those are reflected in your items.
Okay, thank you. All right, so last year when I did this, one of our honors ambassadors, Kelda Harrison, was up here in the UT seat because she had gotten into the economics program at UT, and she told me that my format was boring because I don't allow the students to ask questions earlier than the very end, right? So I'm going to let you ask questions right now. So, ambassadors, I'm going to need you to come down here and take one of the mics from the UT folks. And then if you have a question, okay, there's a race to get the mics. Okay, so we have one question over here. You can get another one, yeah. I cannot hear you, so let's see. Did you turn it off?
Now?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Sorry.
So this question is for Luis. Luis, when I saw that you would be speaking here, I was really shocked because I want to go to Yale through the Eli Whitney program for neuroscience, and I have been gunning for that for the past 2 years. And so when I saw that you have literally the same exact path that I am aspiring to take, I was like, okay, I got to be here. That being said, when I do my advising, I think that you and I probably have a very similar course load, probably like similar, academic performance that we had at ACC. Differences between what you and I have and are. I'm not a veteran. I know that they do care a lot about veterans. I don't really care quite as much about the computer science aspect. I'm caring a little bit more about like the biology aspect. My biggest question to you though is, considering that I think a lot of what we have is similar, what were your leadership credentials and extracurriculars like other than your military experience?
So, because of my military experience, my ECs look a little bit different. I did a lot of my leadership within the military. After getting out, I was very involved in veteran groups. There's a couple local Austin veteran groups that do a lot of community service, and I was a part of those. Um, I think as long as you are involved in a aspect that shows your passion and that shows your community outreach and it's authentic to who you are, I think that's going to be good enough. I don't necessarily believe in like, I'm going to volunteer for X to achieve Y. I think you should just, follow your passions, and I think it will read across as long as you like phrase it well.
Also, are you in the honors program? Okay, great. Because we do have co-curricular opportunities that Paulina mentioned some of them, the Youth and Community Studies Fellows Program, which is a series of leadership seminars offered at UT in the spring. We also do some things with the LBJ School. Anything that can kind of set you apart from your 4.0 from anybody else's 4.0. Also, I need to connect you with Claire, basically, because Claire was also not in the military. She's also less on the computer science, and she's graduating this semester. And like I said, she's on a mission to get as many river bats to Yale as she can. So connect with me afterwards. Okay. Other questions? Okay, we got. You better run. Oh, sorry, Gordon. I didn't mean to. Go ahead. What's your question?
That's cool. I'm chopped liver. I get it. So my question is kind of for all of you. I won't be as effusive. In terms of timelines, do you recommend having getting the associates before you do a transfer? I know, like for Yale, for example, they will accept like if you don't have your associates going in there, but do you find that it is advantageous to do so?
Walt, I think you said something about, yeah.
My recommendation is to get the associates if it's something that you want to do. However, it's not something that may work for everybody. One of the things that was emphasized to me by transfer counselors was that UT specifically kind of wants fewer credits when you're coming into their school because they want to shape you in the UT way. And if you kind of come in with way too many credits, then you may not kind of fit the mold of what they're looking for. However, I know that I think both Shay and myself had like 70 some odd credit. Yeah, a ridiculous number of credits, so it didn't really hinder us. But when it came to like after the fact, kind of transferring in, I think there were 3 different courses that I didn't have to take because either I took a somewhat similar course, not exactly similar during ACC. You can't also discount the resume factor that having your associates goes because when you're transferring, you're also in that final 2 years, you're basically going into a university as a junior, and you're going to have those 2 years. So you're going to be looking at the workforce kind of right away. So that kind of helps you stand out amongst applicants during recruiting season, which is always going on for juniors and seniors. Yeah.
Anybody else?
I would agree with that. I feel like I didn't get my associate, so I did have to take one of the UGS classes, and signing up for classes at UT is kind of like the Hunger Games. It's like those classes go by so fast. You have to be on it. So if you have more credits that you need to take, sometimes it might take you longer just because there's not availability in those classes.
I don't know the answer to that. Like from the school's perspective, I don't know if the school's like, you need to have that, or if the school's like, who cares? I don't know. I thought that it was pretty cool that I got my associates. I know how to talk, but it's because I had a really good advisor that looked after me and made sure that I was like getting all the things. And she just happened to look through my audit, was like, dude, you can get your associates. Why do I keep saying that? Anyway, just leave me alone. I have not been drinking, I swear, yet. But so yeah, it was just kind of a bonus for me on the way out. I did not plan on getting it. I was just trying to look at what was required for me to be able to get into UT, and then making sure that I did every single thing on that thing. So I don't really know whether they care or not.
Tristan, did you have yours?
No, I did not. I went to ACC for 1 year. I didn't have enough credits to get my associates. And my plan was if I didn't get accepted to the schools that I wanted to get accepted to, I would spend another year at ACC and then either get my associates or not. And then I would have a new cycle. I think that's something that's maybe forgotten sometimes is you can reapply to schools. And I think that also further shows how interested you are. So I would say apply earlier than later if you're confident in which school you want to attend.
Okay, I think we had another question. Well, so I saw his hand up first, and then we'll go back. Yes, we'll do that after this.
Is this on? Sweet. I'm applying. My name is Sam. I'm applying to the Yale Eli Whitney program, and I submitted my application and feel, fine. But I'm wondering how the interview process went. I heard a scary story potentially, but Lewis, I was looking to hear from you as well.
Yeah, I'd be interested to hear what that scary story is. But for
That was all Shay.
uh, my experience with the interview process was after I submitted my application, there's a lull period. They go through the first round of cuts, and then you get an email. Or actually, excuse me, before the first round of cuts, you get an email where you do an interview process that's pre-recorded. So they give you a set list of questions. They give you one retry so you can like refresh the page if you didn't like what you said or how you spoke. And then after that, and that one's optional, but whenever I'm applying, I like to maximize the opportunities that are given to me. So anything that was optional, I did. So I'd recommend that for you as well. But you submit that optional pre-recorded one, and then after the first round of cuts, you hear back about a live interview for that one-on-one. Again, I treated this the way I would treat how I'd apply for a job. So when the person reached out to me and said they were going to be interviewing me, I looked up a little bit of background on the person, and then sort of I didn't want to over rehearse because you want to come off you want to be authentic, right? You don't want to come off too polished, but you want to have an idea of what you're going to say. So I try to gather, my story, my trajectory, my values, and sort of get a semi-cohesive story that I could speak on when asked about these questions.
Okay, and you said that they sent you those questions.
So the optional one, when you log on, it'll have the pre-record, like the pre-selected questions for the interview. They did not send you those questions. They just asked you, and it was more of like a conversation than it was like I would call a formal interview.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course.
I want to say one thing about that because it was unnatural and Louise, it was unnatural, the pre-recorded session. I will just say that because you're not looking at anybody. You're looking at like this pre-recorded person that's going to ask you this question that you don't know what the question is going to be. And then they ask you the question and then you're like, let me think on the spot, not talking or looking at anybody. And I'm a very social person. So, I tried my Kristen Wiig, I tried my Molly Shannon. None of it worked. So don't do that, whatever you do.
Can I jump in and add something?
Yes, please.
So, yeah, Shay's right. Even this Zoom thing is kind of awkward, right? Because it's like, do I look at the camera? Do I look at the people? Right. So
Right.
you get that aspect of like awkwardness. So I would say rehearse. Again, try and maximize everything, right? So like find like ideal camera position. And then something that worked for me for the specifically the pre-recorded one was I sort of like try to game plan like what kind of answers or what not answers, what kind of questions are you going to ask, right? So like interests, passions, values, right? And I sort of had like these bullet points. I had a whiteboard, just a bullet on like remember this aspect of that, and then I used that to prepare so that I could talk for the pre-recorded one because it is a little awkward and you do have to think on the spot. Um, but yeah, just prepare accordingly. I think you'll be fine.
Thank you. So I think as you all saw, Noah Charlin was trying to to get online here, so hopefully he will make it, and we'll talk with him. Did you have a question on this side?
Hello, can you
Hello.
hear me?
Yeah.
I would like to ask to all of you, like, what do you think stand out more of your application? Like, what made you, what do you think made you get into that university to stand out from the other applicants?
Um, so it was a very holistic kind of thing, my approach to it. I tried to make sure that everything was in the box, but some of the things that were standouts in my application were my previous professional experience. I worked in middle management with a law firm for 10 years. So I kind of made sure that that was reflected, like the skills that I had built working there. It was also a lot to do with my connection to Austin. I'm a regular volunteer at Eeyore's birthday. That's a very fun thing. And then here at ACC, I was involved with the student orgs, including Phi Theta Kappa and the Honors Student Organization. Had a lot of connections across the system with like the Scholarship Society. So there's plenty of opportunities for you to kind of demonstrate leadership. I would encourage you to go out and seek those, take advantage fully because they're happening every week. As well as like emphasizing, other elements of your profile, like what are your personal connections, what is your family life like, what are the things that kind of keep you grounded and rooted in your success in the future.
Well, I do want to welcome Noah. So Noah, we were just discussing, what are some of the things that they feel set them apart on the application. Can you tell us just a little bit about yourself, your university, and your transfer journey? Because it was really, really recent, right? Aren't you just now at Georgetown this semester?
Yeah, I just transferred in the spring. A little background on me. I went to a community college back in 2020, but because of COVID, I ended up dropping out and just joining the Army. And after my time in the Army, I came back. I went to school for 2 semesters at ACC, and then I just transferred to Georgetown University in DC.
And what is that like since you've only been there, a couple of months?
Yeah, I've been there. I've been here about a month and a half. It's a huge change. DC is nothing like Austin. It's significantly different. The school, I don't think it's too much. It's not much harder in like the material, but you're expected to have higher quality work, and you're expected to just do more, if that makes sense. And then there's a huge emphasis on extracurriculars here. There's like research opportunities like left and right. It's honestly like you go into any different space on campus and there's something going on. So
Well, since we have you, one of the questions that we were asking about earlier, and we'll get back to your question, I promise, but we were asking, what the transfer process was like. And since yours was really recent, could you tell us a little bit about what your transfer journey was like there?
yeah, so I know some schools they have a spring like an application for the spring and then an application for the fall. But for me, I was actually waitlisted for the fall. And I decided instead of transferring out to another university, I decided to hold it and then wait until see if I could get on that spring, and then I ended up doing that. But yeah, transfer journey wise, I applied to schools that I had a genuine interest in, and that I thought would set me up well for my career, as well that aligned with my values.
And did you use any services here at ACC? Did you work with transfer services or the specialists here?
Yeah, I worked with the honors advisor. She was helpful.
Oh,
And
Jana.
then say again?
Jana McCarthy?
Yes.
Yes.
And then I actually worked with a few different professors. One of which, when I was like last minute trying to get my essay in, he like gave me a call, gave me pointers, told me what to fix, and yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, let's get back to your question. I know that we had some people answer it. You were talking about what do you think set you apart in the application? Noah, since you just transferred, what do you think set you apart in your application?
I think what I've overcome in my life set me apart. I'm coming from like a single mother household, low income, just getting punched in the face a lot, for lack of a better term, and just getting back up and then just pushing through, and then that really showed through the essay and through my work experience, and yeah, and I'd imagine that a lot of people at ACC come from similar backgrounds, so.
Yeah, I think you'd be surprised, or maybe you wouldn't. So what about some of the rest of you? Tristan?
Yes, I'm unmuted, right? Yeah. Don't mind my blue light blocking glasses. I'm going to sleep soon after this. But yeah, no, I think standing out, there are a lot of different ways to do it. I think you have, I don't know how many, like 1,000 words in total to write in your essay. Try and show who you are and not just what you did or what you've done. I think personally the SAT, although it's basic, it's whatever. I think that's an important component for. It was a component for my application. Um, Definitely any program. I also was in the honors program. I also was a part of the Scholarship Society Club, which I'm not sure how that's going on right now, but I was part of the club. I tried to volunteer. I was working. I was just doing whatever I thought was best for my growth, and I tried to express that as much as I could in my application. And I tried to be myself. I still strive to push to be who it is that I want to be and who is authentically me. And a lot of that was just practice, just different, just reps of applications. I think my Brown application was probably I think I applied to 16 schools. It was probably like the 15th or 16th. So, I had experience and I had applied to schools the prior year as well. So,
yeah, you guys should have seen Tristan's grid. He had a grid, right? And you were so methodical, right, about going through each one. And there were a lot of rejections on there too, but
oh yeah,
you need a few acceptances. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I shared that. I don't know. I think that was the best way for me to directly and indirectly have to comment on each school because for those who don't know, Professor Thomas helped me a lot through the application process directly and just by being a great professor. So.
Oh, thank you. You were also a YCS fellow, right? Didn't you also?
I was, yes, yeah. I was there.
Okay. Luis, anything that you think in particular? I think you sort of gave us a little bit of that answer earlier when you were kind of talking about your previous leadership experience, but you think there's anything in particular that set you apart?
I also have a similar background to Noah. But something that I think set me apart was Yale's very interdisciplinary. And so I approached my application through the metacognition lens of like, what are they trying to ascertain with this prompt? And so I really made some of my prompt answers that were Yale specific, interdisciplinary, where I was linking neuroscience to music to math, or computer science to philosophy. and sort of just being a little more creative and out of the box in my responses that really showed how my brain works and how I think. And I think that comes across, especially at a program, at a place where there's a lot of interdisciplinary majors that incorporate different aspects of the field. And then just again showing genuine passion in what you are interested in.
Hey, thank you. Anybody else want to talk about what set them apart?
Yeah, for me, I really talked about my like why in my personal statement. I didn't shy away from the fact that 10 years ago, I wasn't probably the best candidate to go to the school that I'm at now. I wasn't the best student, but that essay is kind of a way to like humanize yourself in, I think it was like 1,000 words. So I mentioned like all the growth that I had made in that year and a half and why at a point in time 10 years ago, I wasn't that student, but now I am. And I did my research on like the professors that I wanted to take, maybe like articles or books that they had written that I had read, and really just try to showcase who you are. And I feel like they really look at that essay for that.
I think I already said this, but I have no idea why they let me into this school. But I think you can try to do as much as possible, which is look at their requirements and what they need and just try to eliminate any reason for them to say no to you. It is the best you can do. My essay, I thought there's only one person that's ever read my essay, and actually, Walt, it is you. I don't know if you actually read it, but you're the only person I ever sent it to. But I did not shy away from my own personal reasoning for why I didn't like do well in school, and I thought for sure they were going to read that and be like, "You can't talk about this. This is inappropriate," you know. And they didn't. So that was cool. I think it just, anytime I hear people talk about what they did and whether they got in or they didn't get in, there doesn't seem to be like a common denominator. Do you know what I mean? Like it is impossible to tell how to get into the school you want to get into. And so I think the best you can do is authentically be yourself, and whatever school accepts you is going to be the school that you belong at. I mean, I truly believe that. I don't really fully believe that I belong at UT, but I am very grateful that they did let me come there. So yeah, please be yourselves. And please, if you don't get into a school that you're trying to get into, don't ever think that has anything to do with anything about yourself. I think that's really important.
Okay, do we have, looks like we have a question down here and a question in the back. Or a question over here. Okay, I don't know, just.
It was that side, right? Mine first.
It's your turn.
I just had a quick question. I've had a couple people go over my essay and everyone keeps saying, and it's for UT, but everyone keeps saying like to put more about like why UT in it. And I don't know like exactly what they mean by that, because in my essay it's kind of like a build up to like why UT, and then like the last couple of paragraphs say it. And I was wondering if y'all have like any examples of how y'all showed that in your essays, or like if you really believe that you have to put like a lot in there about it.
So your essays are due pretty soon. I'm sure it's crunch time right now. I feel like I could kind of talk about this because in my iterations for my essay, one of the feedback that I did receive from Professor Dever was that, you know, I needed to focus on that value proposition. It's like, why is UT, you know, the place that I want to go? Because everyone wants to go to UT, but what's going to make me stand out? What's my connection to the school, and how is UT going to help me? And what am I going to bring to the UT system? So, you know, I kind of made sure when I was kind of going paragraph by paragraph to kind of sprinkle in my own connection to the school. You know, my first weekend when I was in Texas, I went to some kind of student org / like a community event that was at UT campus, and I got lost there at the school, and I just kind of like spent like an hour and a half, 2 hours trying to find my car after that. And so I remembered that memory stuck with me, and I kind of reflected that in my essay, kind of setting up, early on, like this is, my first connection to UT. And then I tied it into my work and professional experience where I got to see generation after generation of student who had gone through UT. I see the kind of people that they turn out. And I kind of connected into that. And then I talked about specific programs like UT likes to tote its own to blow its own horn. So when you can talk about the things that they do, like why they're good without, like they know they're the best, so you don't just need to say that they're the best, but like what specifically are you going to do? So I even had like a little blurb I threw out about like this integrated Masters of Professional Accounting program. It's touted as like the #1 graduate accounting program in the world. And I didn't have to say that, but I just had to show that I did my research into this program and make a quick one-off reference that maybe took up 15, 20 words to show that I had very specific intentions when I was going to go to that school. And then I tied that all back into my connection to Austin, my relation to my mother who lives here, and my family abroad, and how I'm going to extend those connections that I built at UT to my life outside of university.
Anybody else? I mean, UT doesn't want you to suck up to them, right? It's like Walt said, they know they're great. But so Paulina, Shay, do you have anything to add?
So to kind of echo what you were saying, I kind of did my research as well as far as like the professors that I wanted to take. I kind of started my essay with like my why, who I was, how I had changed. And then I mentioned my experience with UT through the honors program. I mentioned Dr. Araceli Hernandez, which was in charge of the YCS program. I mentioned Dr. Cole Kevin, which was in charge of the LBJ program I was in. And so I mentioned my experience with UT. And then for me, I then incorporated, this is the experience I now want to have as a student. I want to take Dr. Anderson's IRG class. I want to take Dr. Madrid's Latin American politics class. And then I kind of tailored it as like, so I wasn't the best student then, this is who I am now. And this is the research I've done to show you that I'm a competitive applicant.
I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure that in mine, like what I'm interested in doing is like ideally revolutionizing business models. And so that pertained to the business school. And I think I said something like, standout faculty and College of Liberal Arts. And I talked about why I wanted to be there. But in reality, if you want to go to UT, like you probably do have a reason, and it's probably not just that they're local. You know what I mean? Like it's probably beyond that. And so even if you have to like reach in deep and like be like, what? There probably is a reason why you want to go there. Like they're probably going to help you with something that you want to accomplish. I would just find that.
Okay, do we have a question? Are we on the other side here? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. My question, well, first off, thank you for taking the time to pretty much share your experience transferring. My question just has to do with the courses that I'm choosing to take. It's definitely good to know that pursuing that associates may not necessarily be for me, but particularly, no offense, I know UT is great, but I am planning to go to an out-of-state private school. And one of the questions that I thought about was, if I take, say, Calculus 2, Calculus 3, how is that gonna look? And it's more along the lines, I know that I should probably challenge myself, take as many honors courses, but like Noah, you just stated that basically there's more scrutiny or there's more demanded of you for your courses. So I guess I just want to hear from you all. I need to take pretty much as many courses as I can here, right? Geared to my program, even though it's not going to count. Or if you could talk on that experience, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I think for STEM classes, for the most part, they're going to be a one-to-one transfer. You're not going to have trouble transferring those in. Where the rigor actually changes, for in my opinion, so far is with the humanities courses. Yeah, for the most part, all your calcs are going to transfer fine to just about every university. Um, most of your sciences will, unless they have um, a specific science that they want you to take. Like for instance, at Georgetown, you have to take like a science for all course. So the ACC science courses don't transfer for that. Yeah, I would just also reach out to the admissions officers or the registrar at the school that you're looking at and see what transfers and what doesn't.
Luis, do you have anything to add?
I would definitely not shy away from any rigorous courses. I would take advantage of any and all courses that are in the honors program. I think again, the math really helped cement my foundation. Um, and I wouldn't necessarily worry about the rigor compared to where you're transferring. I think that's that's a friction point that you can address when you get there, and then you can refine whether you need to build up your foundation to tackle a higher level course. Um, but I would just try and see how your transcript is gonna speak about you and really focus on the depth and not just too much breadth of courses, but really like taking advantage of going up to Calc 3, going up to these, uh, finishing your physics sequence, and then having that conversation after getting accepted with someone at the faculty to see what transfers. And then what I found is that I wanted to take some of the classes over, so I ended up leaving some of my credits behind and retaking a class here at Yale. And I found that very helpful because, like Noah was saying, the rigor is definitely a little more abstract, a little more step up. But again, I think that's a problem that you'd be lucky to have. So I would just focus on taking as many classes as you can to expand your knowledge base.
Thank you. And Tristan, your experience is a little different because you just did 1 year. Is that correct at ACC?
Yes, I just did 1 year at ACC. Yeah, I think, I mean, taking courses that make sense for your career and what you're applying for seems to make sense to me. But also, I mean, it's college is about the exploration. It, I think it's intuitive kind of to know which courses you should take. If you have a strong interest in something, you should probably take it. If it is likely going to be required for your 4 year degree, it's probably a good course to take. If you can take it in honors, it's probably better to take it in honors. Even even just for the aspect of maybe it's a smaller class, maybe you get to interact with the professor more. There's so many little components to that. But yeah, I mean, you have to balance your schedule and do the best you can. But I wouldn't worry about the transfer after getting accepted. That's something you can worry about later. I would say personally. But yeah, just try and find courses that you like and that make sense for your degree and do your best in them.
Thank you, Tristan. I just had to cough, so I cut the mic so that it didn't blast everybody's ears. Okay, so we're going to continue with the questions, but I do want to make sure that I get this one question in about scholarship money, because I want to make sure that those of you who actually receive scholarships can talk a little bit about it. Shay, what does that look? So did any of you receive scholarships? So I know, so Luis did. Do you want to talk about scholarship?
So I was lucky enough to receive. So the honors program sends out a list of scholarships, and you just apply to them. And I was lucky enough to receive one through, I think it was like Last Mile. And they ended up giving me some money that I used to upgrade devices. So I got a new computer as I was transferring out, and that was great. Um, and I don't know if this is out of the scope of the question. I don't know if it's scholarships at ACC or scholarships outside, but
Outside, yeah, mostly external.
Similar to Tristan, Yale offers a full ride underneath a certain income bracket. I believe it's like 200,000 now. They just changed it.
Yes,
Um,
they just changed it.
so I am currently attending Yale. I think tuition caps out at like 98K a year. And they're paying me for the place that I'm living at. I have a full ride. So it's been a blessing. So the scholarship definitely is a huge game changer.
Thank you. And Tristan, you got a substantial scholarship as well.
It's a similar story, almost the exact same. Uh, Here at Brown, it's very high, and I mean, I would say it's a pretty high income. You have to really have any significant tuition costs. So that was again one of the reasons that I was so eager to apply and really put my best into the applications because I was aware that the financial component would be secured more or less.
Cool. Anybody else? Scholarships, Noah?
Yes. So I I'm doing study abroad this summer, and UT has a pretty much a whole website dedicated to scholarships. It's I want to say like it's so many pages long. I can't even give it a number. So you can find so many different kinds of scholarships and so many different application deadlines. So if you do decide to go to UT, you get in, there's a whole database for you to refer to. And it's really
Hey,
great.
thank you. That's a great tip. Noah, I saw you were going to say something.
Yeah, so I also have need-based aid, but depending on the university, they give more or less. So I think it's about like 88 grand a year to attend, but I ended up only paying 2 grand for a year. So it's not completely full ride, but it's essentially a full ride. So I would just look at each school and see, one, are they need blind for your applications? Because if you need a lot of aid and they're not need blind, they're less likely, which is unfortunate. But I believe Yale, Brown are both need blind as well. So is Georgetown. But yeah, some schools are more generous than others, but for the most part, those top universities are need blind if
And
they're
does that
private.
cover your housing as well?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Are you going to say something, Shay? No? Okay.
I,
All right. Let's open it back up for questions. I know we had some other. Oh, wait. Oh, Tristan, were you going to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah, I believe a study abroad was mentioned. I didn't mention that I studied abroad with ACC in 2024 summer, and that was a great experience. If anyone is interested in going to another country, uh, great opportunities there, great people who work there. I went to Japan. I plan on going back as soon as I can, but definitely look into that. Not an opportunity that many people, I think, realize is there, but
That's true. And we do have scholarships for study abroad here. We don't have enough scholarships for everybody. I know that they're really looking into looking for external donors to do that. But yeah, and the honors program finally has our very first study abroad. It'll be this summer. It's a painting too. So it's going to be in Florence, Italy, which I'm sure is going to be amazing. But yeah, I mean, we do have study abroad options here, and you can get scholarships to cover most of those costs. Okay, other questions? We got one here. Oh, okay. We're gonna get to you.
So I just have a question for like I'm a freshman in college and it's about to wrap up the years and I was just wondering like what y'all would suggest to do like for summer to just like maximize my time at ACC and do the most I can to show like the board of admissions that I do want to go to UT. I'm just wondering like what I should do.
So what I took advantage of this past summer was through honors, they had the LBJ PPIA workshop weekend, and I applied to that. It was like a weekend workshop at the school of LBJ. So if you can find any opportunities over the summers, internships, I feel like that really looks really good on an application and can definitely make you a competitive candidate.
Yeah, I think a lot of schools are going to look at like what are you doing outside of your classes to kind of really enrich yourself. So any opportunities, whether it be, getting involved with student orgs over the summer, or maybe even for the church over the summer, any kind of volunteering work. A lot of students actually go to work and you can get paid while you're building very valuable skills. So if you're able to, definitely consider that. One of the summers that I was here at ACC, I think I took 14 credit hours, back to back, 4-hour, 5-week language courses. I did that. Something to show that you're keeping yourself busy, because I know UT specifically, they want you to be able to quantify the things that you're doing. They ask you to give an estimate about how much time something takes. And so on my expanded resume, I'm looking at this thing was 2 hours a week or 3 hours a week. This thing was 15 hours a week. There's a lot of ways that you can do that, and you show that in your expanded resume.
I will also jump in here and say that we try to promote opportunities, summer opportunities, for our students in a variety of ways. The PPIA, Public Service Weekend Scholars, but we also have a relationship with the folks that it's called the Summer Scholars at Chautauqua Institution. This is in Western New York, and for whatever reason, they love honors program students. But basically, you spend a week at the Chautauqua Institution, which is this cultural institution in New York, doing a deep dive into, these are themes that you in particular are interested in. Maybe the focus is on government, or maybe it's on performances, dance or theater, or help me out, Parker. What else is there? Parker's one of our summer scholars. He was there last summer.
Yeah, you kind of covered it. It's really an enrichment experience that you don't really get offered often. Yes, they tapped into what I was interested in, academically. I want to go into politics, government, things like that. And so the week that I went was fully politics, discussion, debates. But I also enjoyed dance performances growing up and watching theater and appreciating the arts. So they were able to get me tickets to go see a show, a theater, a play. My God. Sorry, I'm not the one on the panel. I wasn't prepared. Yeah.
Well, part of what I'm trying to get at is that this enrichment experience is, yes, it's an enriching experience. It's fully paid. It's wonderful. But the real help comes afterwards, because they will fly students to some of their potential partners. So universities across the country, they'll pay for you to go there. They help you work with transfer specialists. So that really gives you, that this particular program gives you kind of a step in the right direction for broadening your options, outside of UT.
They will make sure you transfer.
Yeah.
If you don't respond to them, they are going to come find you. I didn't respond to them. They called her.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, so they will make sure that you are ready for transfer. So 10 out of 10 recommend.
Yeah, so we try to, as much as possible, kind of publicize those things that are available for students. Okay, so I know that you had your hand up, so let's go.
My question is for all of you, but maybe more specifically those at McCombs. I am really interested in transferring to UT and to McCombs specifically, but my question is, what can I do to be compelling, not just to get into the College of Liberal Arts and Economics, but what can I do to be compelling to go directly from ACC to transfer into McCombs?
I'm holding the mic, aren't I?
Feel like you did.
I mean, you did say McCombs. Come on, does it work? Oh yeah. Well, one of the things I said earlier, and I try to say it a lot, is that don't give them any reason to say no. Look at every single thing that they're looking at you for and be like, letters of recommendation, check. Resume looks great, check. Essay, check. Extracurriculars, summer. Also, I coach basketball. I don't know how to play basketball. I have a kid who plays basketball very well. So I coach basketball. That was my thing that I did. So just a heads up, it can be anything, just something that you're interested in and shows that you care about your community. I think just look at any thing that they care about, that they want, if you really want to get in, look at every single thing and just like be really uncomfortable. Like my semesters here, I was so agitated. Like calculus nearly murdered me. And I'm not joking. I hated it. Just get really uncomfortable. Take too many classes. Take classes that are really hard and challenging. Like get like really nasty within yourself and then be like, okay, I am actually pushing through something here. That's my advice, but it's probably bad.
I would kind of circle back to the values kind of focus. So McCombs really has like 4 pillars: human-centered, collaboratively minded, innovated, connected, and future focused. And if you realize 3 of those things are about working with other people. And one of the things that I could see very clearly from a lot, and I was talking to Shay about, is that most of these courses have built-in group work and assignments. And that's probably the night and day difference for me at ACC, is that I was able to go to a lot of class and just kind of be a student in the class there for myself. But going to UT, it's like I'm there, I'm expected to come prepared, having done the readings in advance, being ready to contribute, because I'm going to have to engage in direct discussions with my peers around me, semester-long projects, multiple. I think last semester it was very chaotic. There was a time towards, I think around November, where I had about 4 group assignments due all within the span of 2 weeks. And it felt like the entire faculty of McCombs had intentionally designed it to kind of make things a little chaotic. So the ways that you can tie back into that, focus on how you work with other people. What are you doing to connect with them? And how are you kind of branding yourself so that you can kind of make UT look good as well? Because they're going to want to know about your achievements so that you can kind of keep on doing it, and you can put their name next to you as like their own trademark. Yeah, so they're very focused on that.
Okay, any other questions? We have one over here. Run, run, run. I was exciting when you were running, but there's no drama now. Please let her talk.
So I was just wondering, since all of y'all were in the honors program, how did you advertise the honors program in your submissions?
So I made sure to mention it like on my resume, but then for me, it was mostly in my personal statement where I mentioned all the programs I was in through honors, the classes that I took in honors, things like that.
Yeah, on your resume, you can list accomplishments. And so being an honor scholar is an accomplishment. Also, if you take Professor Miller, he has these special projects that you do. And I actually listed those projects as like items on my resume because I was like, I lived through that. Like I should be able to put that on there. In my essay, I also wrote about, what was the experience that we did? What's it called? YCP? Where did we YCS. Sorry, everybody. Thank you. I'm glad you are here. YCS, which is a program through the College of Education at UT. Another opportunity that Anne Marie actually sent out to everybody. And so every time you see a newsletter from that woman, open it up and read everything in it. It's really great. So that was another thing, was through the honors program. I also did co-op. I did an internship with co-op, which was so much fun. I got to interview Ghostland Observatory, and like that's now a published thing on the internet that people can read and look at for me, right? So I recommend just if you're gonna put it anywhere, put it on your resume, put it in your essay, and just anywhere you can highlight it. Yeah, there's lots of places to put it. Look at my heart.
A habit of turning it off before we pass it. No, I do it too. Yeah. So the honors program to me was really what helped me kind of connect to the collaboratively minded. Smaller class sizes allow for greater interactivity amongst classes. There wasn't an honors class that I had where I wasn't like interacting with my peers. So I kind of tied that back in. There's also the honors scholar, which is like a nice little micro credential you can kind of give yourself that allows requires you to stand up because one of the requirements for that is that you hold some kind of leadership position, which requires that you kind of get out there and you work with others. So the honors program really kind of opens those doors, allows you to kind of go beyond just your 101 material and kind of explore the content more fully.
I think people have actually started clubs solely so that they could have the leadership experience that they could put on the honor scholar tier, which is hilarious to me, right? That we have some of these new clubs because of that. But what they're talking about with the honor scholar designation, it's basically an endorsement. So you maintain a 3.5 GPA, you take at least 3 honors courses, you assume some sort of leadership position. It doesn't necessarily have to be an officer. We were talking earlier about the YCS Fellows Program or the LBJ PPIA weekend. That can satisfy your leadership requirement. And then there's a service requirement. So Shay was referring to one of the service opportunities we have with co-op, local radio. And so you get an endorsement on your transcript, your paper transcript, but you also get, a digital badge, which I know can seem a little goofy, but that's something that you can also put in your transfer application. So Tristan, I see that your mute is off. So do you have something to say?
I just wanted to add, I think there are places in the Open App application. I know UT has its own individual portal, but if you're applying to multiple schools out of state or just a larger group of schools, there are definitely places, they definitely ask for your school transcript, so you can put in which courses you take. I'm not sure how they view all of those exactly, but I think it's also good to remember that honors courses are not just about the actual title. It is again, as it's been said, it's about the experience and just being able to have more of a one-on-one with peers and the professor. So you could definitely directly speak about an experience in your essays or in any other component of the application. But I have to go now, unfortunately. I have really enjoyed this transfer panel. Thank you all. Thank you, Professor. Thank you, other panelists. Thank you, guests.
Thank you so much, Tristan. We really appreciate your coming back this year. Get some sleep.
It's fun. It's been fun, and I hope I can come back next year. I still have one more year after this, so.
You are always welcome. Yes, we'd love to have you.
But yes, I am going to head out. I put my email in the chat. My ACC email is just tristan.phillips2 at ACC, the ACC address there. If anyone wants to.
That still works? That's good to know.
I believe I still have it. I still have login access.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Worst case, I can share another email some other way if someone has a question for
sounds
me.
good. If anybody connects me, ask me too. I can connect you too.
Yeah. So, but okay. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
All right. Thank you so much, Tristan. Luis, Noah, any particular way that you might have emphasized honors in your application materials?
Yeah, so kind of like Shay mentioned in different parts of the prompt, but I think specifically I mentioned the honors class size and how it's capped and the interaction you get with other students. And then I'd link that to Yale's student to faculty ratio, which is also pretty small. They also hold seminar classes where they're like capped at like 12 students. And I talked about that collaborative environment and how that drew me to apply to Yale. Sort of just be creative in how you're linking. And also, I guess, my trajectory of, having poor academic performance, before coming back to school, going to ACC, and then rebuilding from the ground up, going and challenging myself in the honors program, and then just continuing to show that trajectory of growth.
All right. Thank you. Noah?
I don't think I even mentioned it in particular, but I know on the transcripts when they get it, I can see it because I've seen how they reviewed my my transfer credits. It says honors on there, and that means something when they see that on the transcript. And then yeah, another thing, just like exactly like Luis or Lewis, but yeah, terrible academic track record before, going to ACC and everything, like 2.9 in high school, and then like college dropout, and then showing that growth through like being in the honors was a big reason.
Right. Okay, thank you all. Look, we are almost exactly at time. So was there any last question that anybody wanted to ask? Wait, you already had one.
Just gonna ask what y'all love most about the school you're at currently.
What do you love most about UT, y'all?
I personally love just the community there. I feel like I definitely drank the Kool-Aid. As soon as I was accepted, I was like, burnt orange is my favorite color. But I just feel like there's so much community and you can find your community. It can be challenging at times, especially being like non-traditional student, but like be okay joining orgs. It doesn't necessarily have to be like an academic org. It can be anything that you're interested in. There's so many, and there's so many ways to find community at UT.
Dorkily enough, I actually love the content of UT so much. Like I love the content in every single class I'm in. And also I remember like being young and like not wanting to do anything ever. And I was like, I would have never like been this like checked in. And I'm old and I'm okay being old because I'm like, finally, I'm actually paying attention. I love the content of that school, of all the classes. And also sociology content is just like, it's so cool. And these professors are so good too. I mean, the professors at ACC are also so good. So it's not like any kind of like comparison. I just really love that I'm in a place where if I actually am interested in this like problem, this like major issue, and I actually want to do anything about it, this is exactly where I need to be. These courses, this coursework is exactly where I need to be. And that is just like a good sensation. It's rare that we have that in life, I think, sometimes. So I feel this sensation now, and I'm just so grateful for it, you know? And I would not be at UT if it were not for ACC through and through. I think I made like 40s in high school. I mean, like really, really bad, right? Like there's no chance of me ever getting into any school ever. And coming to ACC and having the support that I got, the honors program, the people that are in the honors program, the advisors, the professors, like I don't have enough things to say that are so sweet about this school. Oh, I might, but I can't think of them all right now. But I love this place so much. And I just also want to say, going on to UT was a little hard too, because like I really loved being at ACC because I felt like I was accepted and like welcome and like my people were here. And then when I left ACC and went to UT, I was like, I would ask questions in class and all these like 18-year-old Macomb students would turn around and be like, what the hell's your problem, you stupid lady? Like, why do you ask questions? You're supposed to pretend like you're smart all the time. And so I miss that. So I think also please take advantage of being at ACC. I love this place. Like this place is taking care of you, you know? And if you if you really like take advantage of everything, like the tutors, they have free tutoring all the time. Like those tutors are amazing. Like if you actually take advantage of every single thing the school offers, you're good. You're good to go. No matter where you go, right? No matter where you go. So please enjoy this. That's your mom talking, I guess. Sorry. Louise, what do you love most about Yale?
I love a lot. There's like so others mentioned, community. The Eli Whitney program gives you a built-in community. So when you get here, you go through orientation with other students, and then you get plugged into a chat. So going forward, you have like 100 other non-traditional students that you are in community with. They assign you a mentor. You get a peer faculty mentor. Research opportunities are abundant. It's my second semester here, and I'm part of two labs. Um, and they're willing to teach you from the ground up. I had no hard skills in research, and now I'm doing computational stuff with some machine learning, and then also fMRI scans, analysis. The professors are amazing. One of the labs I work with, the PI is Marvin Chun, who is foundational in the neuroscience field. He was involved in the FFA work with the fusiform face area for identifying how we encode faces. Getting to learn from people that have shaped the field is incredible. Um, the opportunities that they give you, there is summer funding where they give you money to do research, or they give you money to go abroad and study. Um, there's just so much opportunity here, and Yale really encourages you to find yourself academically. I transferred as a computer science student, and when we got here, they told us take classes that interest you. Don't pigeonhole yourself in the direction that you think you have to be in. Explore. And they encourage you, so you join and you are undeclared, and so you have time to pivot, reorient, and really find yourself. And I found that I love neuroscience and I fell in love with it. And I completely changed my trajectory. So I think the culture here is incredible, and there's a lot of opportunities. So I really love it here.
Hey, thank you. Noah, what do you love about Georgetown?
I really like the community. I'm a Catholic student and it's a Catholic school, so it's nice being able to be around the church all the time. But I really like the location. Almost every student is doing an internship during the semester. Most people are like up on the hill or doing like something to do with politics around here, or policy. And then just like Louise said, there's like research everywhere. Like if you ask for it, you can probably get it. There's even stuff where like you can propose research and you can talk to different faculty to facilitate that kind of stuff. And then just a shout out to the tutors at ACC. 100% would not be not be at Georgetown if it wasn't for them.
The tutors, to the tutors. And then Walt.
Also, I'll just be really brief with this. There's like two main things. There's the students that you're surrounded by at UT, particularly in the Macomb School, are very intentional when they come to class. And specifically like in my program, which is itself like an honors program within the Macomb School, everyone there has already like maintained like very high GPAs within a very competitive institution. So they're coming and they're very knowledgeable. So while I'm definitely their senior, they always are enlightening me and giving me new ways to think. And then the second thing is jobs. Macombs doesn't shy away from marketing itself to employers. And before I even set foot on the 40 acres from my first class, it was recruiting season for the accounting firms. I was attending an event with like Deloitte, and I did not expect that kind of going in, but they really throw you through the grinder. So you're getting a lot of exposure to some top firms around the world with opportunities in just about every city, every country. So if you're not going in accounting specifically, if you're looking in consulting, if you're looking to go into graduate programs, like all those opportunities are abound.
Great. All right. Well, thank you all so much. Thank you to our participants from UT, our participants from Yale and Georgetown and Brown with Tristan. Thank you all for coming tonight. If you want to bombard these UT folks with questions, they may or may not mind, I think. Probably our Zoom participants will be leaving. I don't know if there are still nachos. There were vats of queso, so I guess we'll find out. I do want to put in one big plug for transfer services. That is your best resource for transfer help here at ACC. So if you have not seen a transfer specialist, definitely make an appointment to see one. Thank you all for coming.